are finishing today our series for bringing out the best in people. Again, my favorite people skills book, and I hope you've enjoyed it so far. And last but not least, we have the last three, ways or rules or methods to bring out the best in people. Alan Loy McGinnis. I really recommend you read this book. If you're super, super into it, like I was, you'll research the guy. You'll also find his previous book that led to this called The Friendship Factor. So welcome back to Unlocked. It's been great that you've been out there listening, and it's a lot easier and helpful when you help us send this to somebody, click subscribe, and hit the little bell so that you get notified when we get another video. So bringing out the best in people. 10, okay? The rule number 10 to bring out the best in people talks about placing a premium on cooperation, collaboration. How to get people to work together. How to get people from different backgrounds, from different worlds, from different ages. You know how you get an 18? I remember having an 18-year-old kid train from the ground up a general manager that started in the business with me and was 38 years old with 10 years of experience. And I was like, man, there has to be a premium on collaboration. For example, I can create a bonus for I was going to say elder, but I could create a bonus for the more veteran person to learn from the younger one to bridge the gap that sometimes ego creates with maybe not being as humble, even though somebody might have something to teach, even if they're younger. I want people to be incentivized to get the group higher. So if I have teams and I have teams of 4, I have maybe car rides of 4 people, I want to give them an average goal for selling for the car ride, not just per person. That way I can incentivize the individual by placing a premium on collaboration. It always is a bigger win for you when you can help people invest into each other. So if I hit my goal faster, I haven't really finished my goal because my teammate is not at the goal yet. And so similar how a sports team works, you can hit a home run, but it's a lot easier if it scores 4 points if it's a grand slam because there's 3 people on base. So you want it to be more money, more incentives, more recognition. You want it to be more rewards in general when there's collaboration, when there's a team that wins versus an individual. Now, a lot of times the team wins because the individual starts, but you want the individual to finish because the team won specifically. So that would be rule number 10 to bring out the best in people. You'll see people collaborating, helping each other in ways you didn't think of, because people will get creative in order to help somebody else out. So one of the best things to do when building teams. Number 11, probably my personal favorite out of all the rules to bring out the best in people. It's building into the team an allowance for storms. That means that you have to prepare your team and building into them like room for disagreements. You have to explain. It's one of the best things I've done is before, and by the way, this works for your marriage. This works for any relationship you care for, your family, your parents. You got to have an agreement on how we're going to react when we disagree. So Richard, you're saying we're going to disagree? Yes. You got to assume there will be a disagreement. And you have to create a system of what steps do we take when that happens. So I might say something like, look, we're a new team, we're growing. Especially when there's fast growth, problems come quicker. There's going to be a moment in which we disagree. In that moment, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a meeting. We're going to call each other out and speak in person. We're not going to talk behind our back, and we're going to get into a room until we get into an agreement. For example, I might say something like, hey, the team is going, like somebody's going to make somebody else angry or upset. Here's what we do when that happens. Don't think it's abnormal, and please don't think when somebody else makes you upset that it was their intention. Your first step is going to be thinking, you know what? There's got to be benefit of the doubt. I got to give them the reason. Even though I really think this person's trying to mess me up, they didn't, because you prepared them and you said, hey, when you feel offended by somebody, you're not going to take the first route of offense. You're going to take the route of like, even though I do feel super offended, before I make any decisions, assumptions, or I react emotionally, I'm going to go talk to somebody that's going to help me view this from a different perspective. Again, there's not a way to create no disagreements. You just have to learn how to react when they are. And I think that's the best thing, man. One of the best examples, I think, of this, and I'm so happy to say this because it used to be very different for both of us, but it's my wife. And I remember the other day I was on a trip and she called me and she had such grace for me because She said there was something that had bothered her, but she explained it to me without being angry. She was right. And she said, Richard, like, I just need you to help me with this. And I know how humble of a spirit you got to have ask for help like that. How much you could have a seed of the enemy, a seed of doubt in there that could be easily placed. But how much it helps and how much it fixes, because I was able to listen to her without being offended about a mistake that I made. And I was not offended because she gracefully explained it to me. She brought the best out of me and we fixed the problem because she gave it enough room to where I could mess up without creating a mess. Probably one of the best things that you can do in any relationship, but especially building a team, and especially when there's fast growth, fast sales, fast money. That's when storms come. You got to have a game plan for the storms. And the last one, it says, to bring out the best in people, take steps to keep your own motivation high. So probably there's a reason why this is the last one, that it doesn't focus so much on the team, but it focuses on self. And it's because usually the speed of the leader is the speed of the team. So if a leader is speeding at speed 8, the team isn't going to speed at 9. The team is going to speed at 8 or below, usually at 5 or 4. And so it's important that as a leader, you take steps to renew your goals. The goals I had in 2019 are different than now. The goals I had in 2020, 2021, 2022 are different than the goals I have now. 3, 4, 5, 6 years later, goals are very, very different. And why that matters is because, again, your speed, your goals, your ambition, if you want, your desire level needs to be renewed, because at some point people are going to match it. So a great way to look at this is with a recruiting frame. If you are hiring and building a team and your own motivation, your own goals are this big, you're not going to hire anybody whose goals are that big. So the reason you need to keep your motivation higher, or in another word, you need to renew your goals, set bigger goals, tackle a bigger obstacle, is because the bigger your goals are, the more people that when people have a goal this big, they can fit into your vision. So therefore they start because they have room to expand. But if somebody has this big of goals and your motivation or your goals are also this big, you're going to find the objections of, I don't know if this is for me. They're going to start valuing less important things like the commute or the pay or the hours than their real career growth. And only that happens when, again, you have similar or less motivation than the people underneath you. So it's very important that you do something. And I'm not talking you should not delay gratification, but maybe you got to give yourself a treat. Maybe you got to find a way to motivate yourself, take a trip, do something you've been waiting to do. Maybe you have to hit a goal and get a new one so that you can keep your motivation at a high level. And that is going to always be a way to pull the team forward with you. Brings out the best in people, also helps people see you grow. Not just talk about others, but help them see you grow and advance. So hopefully this helps. We'll continue with more and more books. But again, bringing out the best in people, probably by total bias, my opinion alone, book that has helped me advance the quickest in building people. Alan Loy McGinnis. Thank you so much, and we'll see you guys at the next one.